And not only is it easy, it's inexpensive because I think a lot of us, when we see pretty napkins, we buy them. I'm not sure why, but then again, some people buy pretty paper. I buy pretty fabric. We like things that speak to us. And sometimes I pick up napkins, even if they're not my own personal style, because I think I can use them in something. But today I have a lot of the napkins I had last week from my live. I just kept some of the stuff down here in my studio. And to do this, we are going to take and make your napkin one layer. So napkins, they all have different looks. This one is a small napkin and it repeats 4 times the same pattern. Whereas this bigger napkin has an all over pattern. It kind of repeats, but you can't tell because it's all florals. So you never know when you're getting your napkins because lots of times you just see the front and the back. And sometimes the front and the back are different. Like on this one, the front has this beautiful gold edge. The back does not. And neither do the other 2 sides. So sometimes it's a surprise what you actually end up with a napkin, because sometimes it's white on the back. I've had that happen. I can't even open this one. Sometimes it's white on the back. So it's fun when you get all the colors. So to take your layers apart, some people are able to lick their fingers and pull. That has never worked for me. I'm not even sure why, but that's okay. I don't mind using this method. I mean, sometimes you can work at it and just pull them apart too. Before I put the tape on there, I'll see if I can do that. Let me put the tape down. So I have all my fingers, but sometimes you're able to just pick at that corner a little tiny bit and pull them apart. There, I got that one. And this particular napkin is only 2 plies. Some napkins are 3 plies, so you have to get down to just the top ply. And with this one, you have 2 plies. You can use this to make rice paper. And when you have 3 plies, you get that ghost print, and you can use that also. So I'm going to show you a lot of different ones I've done after I show you how easy it is to make these. So I'm just very careful. I'll hold one of the layers down and pull because, of course, a napkin is very fragile like tissue paper and it can rip. So you get down to one layer and you're able to use both of these. I'll show you how to do that. And now I'll show you some of the other ones I have. So this that I already have down to 1 ply. So this napkin repeats the design upside down. And it has 3 of the flowers on each side, which is very cool. This one is more like a wreath. And then it's kind of open in the center. So that to me is an all over design. And let me see if there's another one that's this one I love. So this one, it's the same on this half and this half. But the reason I love this and the reason I love this is the lettering in there, the words. I just love script in paper, fabric, napkins, all the things. I love that little touch of script, even in rubber stamps. And it's just so beautiful. So to keep everything in frame, I am going to use, let me see, I cut a piece of this up. I think this will fit. So I'm going to use this so you can see everything in frame. You're not even going to see everything in frame. There's the bottom. There's the top. Okay. So you want to work on a craft sheet or freezer paper, something nonstick. And then you can use Mod Podge, but sometimes that is a little sticky for me. So I use Elmer's glue or just school glue. And you can use it 1-to-1, 2 parts glue to 1 part water, 1 part glue to 2 parts water. It depends where you're at, the humidity, all the things. So test it out 1-to-1 and then see if you need to add just a little more glue or if you need to add a little more water. Test it on 1 and you can tell. But this is what I use. And I use, of course, an old jar. This is just an old spaghetti jar. And I'll put a couple bottles of glue in there, add the water, and I just have this always available in my studio. So it is, let me see if I can show you. It is the consistency of like a pancake mixture. And if you're doing it in a recycled jar and you do what I just did and take your brush and rub along the edge, make sure you take a baby wipe or a wet paper towel, wipe that edge off. So when you put the lid on and you don't use it for a month, it's not stuck. And of course, I'm using my favorite brush from Dynasty, the water lilies. I love these brushes, and I think I love them because of the color. So now you can also, like, if you're doing this, you're all set. You can do this. You can also add, I'll use instant coffee, or you can pour some, if you drink coffee, you can pour some of your coffee from the coffee pot into your glue mixture, and it creates more of a vintage look. So I'll show you how easy it is. I'm going to move my napkin out of the way. I already have a little in here. It's not enough to do a napkin. So I just take some of my instant coffee, and this container of instant coffee, I think I've had for 15 years. I mean, it's about half gone, and I use it quite often, but you only need a tiny, tiny bit. You don't have to use a lot. So I put that in there. And then my mixture's already mixed, so I'm just going to pour some of my mixture in with it. Turn that. I did forget to grab a craft stick, but I'm just going to use another brush. And what you want to do is wash your brushes out right away when you're done. But you can just mix that together to get that vintage color. And those crystals from the coffee, they dissipate in the water and glue mixture. And if a couple of them are stubborn, you can just press on them against the edge, or you can leave them, and when you're brushing them out, you'll have a darker, streaky kind of look, which is kind of cool too. But you just mix this up. And this is in just a plastic food container that I only use for this. And this will not last for months and months. This, I've had my glue mixture in a jar like this, sealed, and it can last 6 months and still be good. It can last a year. So a jar is better. A plastic container isn't, but this, I will use all of it. I'll clean it out, and I'll save this in my studio to reuse for the same thing. So I do have some plastic containers that are only for my craft room. And this one in particular, or these ones, like when you order a whole set, you get a bunch of little ones. You never know what to do with them. I use them in my craft room. So I'm going to grab a wet wipe to at least clean my brush off right away. I won't be able to wash it until after. But if I'm able to clean it like this during the live, and then after the live, I can go wash it, it'll be fine. But today I'm going to use the bigger brush because I can spread more out. I'm just looking at some of the comments, but okay. So this, do you guys want to see this with the vintage or the white? Because this has a white background, so that will turn kind of vintage. If anybody in the comments can tell me which, that's what I'll do. So I'm going to wait just a minute. White. Okay. Well, and I didn't touch this one with this vintage color, so that's good. Okay. So if I'm doing this on freezer paper, you do it shiny side up. And I might take a pen and mark my corners so I kind of know where I'm going. But for this one, I'm just going to push it over to the side, knowing I need to keep it in camera view. And I'm just going to start an outline of the glue. And you brush it on. You don't need it so thick. You want it bigger than your napkin, but you don't need it plopped on there. You want a nice layer so that the whole back of the napkin is covered, right? I'm going to go down a little bit further here, make sure I get the whole thing covered, and up just a little bit more. And now I'm going to move my napkin down to the bottom so I can kind of gauge how wide I need it to be. You can't see it, but I can see about how wide I want it to be. And you just, very simple, put your glue out. And sometimes when you're doing it on freezer paper, your glue will kind of spread. If it spreads at all, just go over it again. So you have that full coverage. That's what you want. You want full coverage in the area. And if it's thicker in some areas, that's fine. It'll be a little more thicker on your paper. And that's not a bad thing, but you don't want just a puddle of this glue and water mixture. Christine said she has used the bags from cereal boxes to do this step. Yes, you can use that because it's plastic. The napkin won't stick to it. You can use plastic bags, all the things. So when you put this down, it's a lot like when you do the rhinestones. Just commit to putting it down. Don't put it down, hesitate, because if it touches, it is there. And it's okay if you have wrinkles because rice paper has wrinkles. But I just kind of let it fall where it's going to. And then you can take, this is one of my deli wraps. You can take one of those, or you can take a plastic bag and use to help secure it down. You don't want to rub it with your fingers, because as you rub with your fingers, you might tear the napkin. So you're just very careful. And you can, there's some glue on here. You can let this dry and reuse it. You shouldn't reuse it like I did for the very bottom there if it has the mixture on it already. But for that little tiny bit, it was fine. Now I'm going to take more of my mixture and just go over the top. When I go over the top, I'm a little more generous than when I put it on the bottom. And when you're doing this, you don't want to have a heavy hand with your brush. You want just light strokes. Because after all, this is a napkin and it can tear easily. The great part about this is if it tears, you can, let me move it, you can kind of smush it to cover up that tear, which is a great thing. Or you can take an extra piece of napkin and put it down. I had a tear in one that was right where the flower was, and I just sacrificed some of the outer edge of a napkin and placed it in place. So there's ways to save it. And if it has a tear, that's okay too. I mean, you're going to use these in junk journals. You're going to use them to make tags. You're going to do a lot of things. And you can work around that small tear. After you get this totally covered, you can leave it like this, or so it has straight edges, or you can, if you want more of a jagged edge, you can push the edges in a little bit. I think you can see that. I'll lift it up when I'm done. You can push these in, and this is really cool if it's the outside cover for a journal, because then you have an added dimension to the edges of your journal cover, and that's very cool. But you just ever so lightly give that a push. You could go further. I mean, if you wanted a really ruffled edge or a really thicker edge, you could push it down further too. Now I'm going to take another baby wipe my brush so it will be fine until I'm ready to wash it. Make sure you do that because you don't want to ruin your good brushes. And I prefer using good brushes when I'm doing Mod Podge. I'm not a decorative painter, but when I am doing craft projects, I like the better brushes because all the loose hairs aren't coming out everywhere. So let me lift this up so you can see that jagged edge just a little bit more. So after you're done with this, you would take this, I'm going to turn it around and I'm going to set it to dry. Depending upon where you live, it can dry anywhere from, and how heavy you were with the glue mixture. It can dry anywhere from 4 hours to 24 hours. I find here, if about 6 hours, it's good. So I'm going to show you how they come off. I have a couple here. I think I have a couple of the same one. So because when I do this, I do a lot of them. So sometimes I will use the freezer paper, which will be reusable because the waxy part, until that is worn off, it's still reusable. And with this, you are able to kind of mark, or with a plastic bag, you can kind of mark where you're going to be, if that makes it easier for you. Christine said she leaves hers overnight and she likes her edges pushed in. I love the edges pushed in. I didn't do it with all of them so you guys could see the difference. But when you come in here, and if you use, I taped these down because it came off a roll, so of course it was rolling. But the advantage is you can come in and kind of pull that up like that. And when you have the glue on the outside too. So you want to kind of loosen that glue on the outside of your napkin. Because if you just start pulling your napkin and that glue has it adhered really well, you might rip your napkin. But even if you rip your napkin, it's okay, because you can go over it again with more glue, cover up that hole, or use it around the hole, or all the things. So like here you can see I had a lot of extra glue extended beyond this. And I'm going to kind of rip that glue up there. And again, you're just very careful, even though this is stronger now that it has the glue mixture on it, it can still rip. You know, after all, it is a napkin. You can also do this if you find beautiful tissue paper. And tissue paper, you won't have to take the layers apart because it's only one layer. I've never seen tissue paper that was more than a layer. But isn't that beautiful? So stunning. You can see through it. It is strong. I mean, very strong. It's not going to tear easily. When you're tearing it up, it might. That's why I'm just so careful. But you can, if you didn't get enough wrinkles, if you have some wrinkles and you think, oh no, I should have wrinkles everywhere else too, you can wrinkle this up. It's very strong and it is beautiful. So I have another one just like that, but I will go ahead and pull this one up for you. And that one, I had to cut the napkin in half to fit it on my tray. And this one, I had to cut 1/4 of my napkin to fit it on my tray. And when you're pulling this, you don't want to pull it toward the napkin because you might rip some of the glue off of the napkin. So you're just being a little careful. It's not something you do so quickly. And then just pull this off. Isn't that cool how translucent that is and how strong it is? I mean, that is what amazes me, how durable that is. So this would be durable enough for a journal cover. You could see through it. You could see the junk pages underneath it. There's so many possibilities with this. Rebecca loves the wrinkled look, right? And the translucent, Isabel. I know, it's so beautiful. The bird napkin, I think I got this at Hobby Lobby a couple of years ago. But I love how translucent this is. It's just so much fun. But I love how strong it is too. you know. I mean, you can hear that. It's strong, durable, so you can make a lot of things with it. I'm going to show you some of the ones I did. Okay, so this is, okay, and when you're doing it, the backside always appears shiny. So at least you can tell the right and the back and the front. But it's shiny because it's on that plastic. But in this one, I did get a little rip in it when I was putting the glue mixture over the top, but that's okay. I can cut around that. I can make whatever I want around that. Or if it is over something, let me grab something. If I'm putting it over something, it kind of disappears, the hole. So this is one of the back layers that I took off. And this is with the white without the coffee. This one is, where's the one I just took off? So if you can see the difference, this one is with the white. This one is with the coffee. So it's a little bit darker. Maybe you can't tell on camera so much, but it just, and you can smell it. You can smell the coffee. So this one is beautiful. It's the one where I did the edges, and you would cut all of this excess off. It just kind of pulls away. But this would be cute for a journal because you have the front and the back and they match, right? So wouldn't that just be cute? Yay for coffee tank. I don't drink coffee, so I don't love the smell, but other things you could use to color your glue, you could use tea. You could use a drop of, okay, so the dye you use for Easter eggs, you could use some of that. You want to leave it translucent. You don't want to cover it with a pigment where it changes the color totally. But I love this for a journal cover. This one, you can see my hands, but this is beautiful. This I definitely would cut in half, but this would be nice for a journal cover too, right? And if you've never tried this, they are very durable. This one I'll show you in a minute. This one is one of the extras with coffee, and there are lots of holes on this one because when I was doing it, I think I oversaturated in a couple spots, but I can cut around those. I can use this for a tag and it would look kind of cool. But I love the wrinkles on there that they have. And then this one was like the ghost image. And this one has the coffee on it too. But you can see, maybe you can see the bird here in the house. If I angle it just right. So this is the ghost image. So that's pretty cool too. Now, before I showed that one, here's another one. And what's interesting, this is the front side. I wanted to show you the back. That's why I had it face up. I used one of my craft mats that I did not have totally cleaned off. And that's where you can see the white there, the gold there, the specks of gold. That is from craft paint that I didn't get totally off my craft mat. So when I peeled this up, it adhered, and actually I wouldn't mind having some gold stuck all over my craft mat and doing this, because I kind of like that. So if you don't want that, make sure your craft mats are totally clean. And then here's this beauty. You can see the words. They're so beautiful. Paper Artsy has a range of paints called matte tints, which are translucent. Those would work perfectly. Yeah. Yes, Rebecca, happy accidents are fun. I mean, that's when you play, that's what you discover. And then here's that beauty. Same thing. That's why I had it backward, because I have like 6 craft mats out here. So there is some of the paint, and you can see it on this side too. But if I had like a pearl paint in the lavender that was spread on there, that would be pretty. But isn't that beautiful? Now this one was a full sheet. And what I did was I took Eileen's envelope die and made a little tiny envelope. Now, wouldn't that be cute to give to someone in a package? You could put a gift card in there. You could put a button on here. Just super cute, cute envelope. This is something you could even mail if it's big enough. If you do a bigger envelope, you could mail it because it's strong enough. It's not going to fall apart in the mail. But you can make envelopes with these. And I also used one of her other dies. Let me grab it. The library card. And I took some of the clear, the back layer, and put it on book pages. So you can see book pages. And then I made the envelope card. But I did not like the fact that the words were going upside down on the bottom here. So I covered it with more of this. So that's cute. And then ink up your edges. And then I took, and that's why that one sheet only had 2. I took one piece of it and put over a music sheet. And see, this would make a beautiful tag. It would make a fun envelope. It would make a cute library card. But I just took the finished piece. I took a sheet of music, cut this, and I took more of this mixture because it's watered down. You don't want it too thick. And I just applied it to the book page and put it down and pressed really firm so the book page wouldn't wrinkle all up. But I think that is gorgeous. And then, so I was playing around because, of course, I think I've told you guys a billion times, that's what makes crafting fun, and that's how you learn and all the things. I'm looking for my plain background. So then I took one of the plain backgrounds and I cut another one of these and placed on top. And then I took another plain background on top. So this is 3 layers. And so this is thicker than one layer. but I did one sheet like this. I took a piece of this napkin, not already done. I took a dry piece, a piece like this. So this was done, dried, everything. I cut one of these and glued it on top. And then I added another layer of napkin on top right away. I didn't wait for it to dry. And I love how it turned out. It is very much thicker. You can feel it. You can maybe see it because you can see my hand through here and you can't see my hand as much. But play around, have fun. This will make a gorgeous take. This would make a beautiful book cover. It would be a lot more sturdy, although these would be sturdy enough. But just play around and have fun. But I just think there's a lot of possibilities with doing this. And if you have napkins at all or tissue paper, school glue is super cheap. I think, especially this time of year, I think you can get these for 50 cents a bottle. And this is 4 ounces, so you could make 8 ounces for 50 cents. And you could make quite a few of these.